back for another Vlogtober. Again, my name is Dion, the Tea Priestess Rough Sloan, and today I have got my spooky mug. You can tell I've already been drinking a lot of tea. I use this tea mug a lot. Even when it's not spooky season. So today I've got my cinnamon tea, and in another video I'll share some of my favorite seasonal teas and also help you to make a seasonal tea for yourself. But today, that's not the subject today. Today I'm going to share some book recommendations that I think, one, are perfect for the season, but I've got two that are perfect for the season and others that I just feel are great anytime books. And they're books that I am actually revisiting. I've read them so much. So let's get started. So the first book that I have is this one, Honoring Your Ancestors, A Guide to Ancestral Veneration by Mallory Valdos. This one is so good. I have this book and then I have the audiobook as well, because I originally had got the audiobook first, but then it was so good that I wanted to get a copy so that I can mark up and make notes. This one gives you a really great jumping off point for starting your ancestor veneration practice. It gives you kind of an overview of and some journal questions at the end of each chapter to kind of think about who are your ancestors, working with healing ancestral trauma, building your altar, offerings, and things like that. And it also has a chapter on spiritual hygiene, which I find very, very important, because there are a lot of folks out here who are doing witchy practices and aren't taking care of their energetic hygiene. So this is a really, really very good book about how to connect with your ancestors, but also how to know when your ancestors are sending you messages, like the kinds of things that you'll need to look out for. I cannot highly recommend this book enough. Now, if I don't practice an African traditional religion, I am very eclectic in my spirituality, but my personal practice has a little bit of brujeria, and because originally I was trained when I lived in San Antonio by a grandmother of my friend, and so mine is kind of an eclectic clothes practice. But people ask me a lot, how do they get started? How do they even begin to do their ancestor veneration? So this is the book for you. Honoring Your Ancestors. So good. It gives you, in the very back, it also gives you herbal allies for your ancestor veneration. A lot of this stuff I kind of already knew, but because she is approaching it from more of a Eurocentric position, this gives you a good place to start without cultural appropriation, if that makes sense to you. So highly recommended. Cannot recommend this enough. I have read this 2 or 3 times. I'm always recommending it to other people. Honoring Your Ancestors. Perfect for kind of the spooky season. So the next book I would highly recommend, kind of on the theme of autumn and harvest, is this book, Harvesting Your Journals. And I'll put like links to these books on Amazon. It's not going to be a link that, it's not a link I'm going to get paid for. I just really love these books. Writing Tools to Enhance Your Growth and Creativity, Harvesting Your Journals by Rosalie Dearhart and Allison Strickland. So, a lot of times you'll hear on this spiritual practice, on your spiritual path, to keep a journal. Well, that's great to keep a journal, and what do you do with all of those insights? Because if you're like me, you write a lot in your journals, but you don't necessarily know to go back and pull out the goodies. This is the book for you. This one gives you some kind of insights on how to take your journal writing to the next step, and it has easy to follow writing strategies. And let me see if I can do a little bibliomancy here. No, this is this is a great one. So it talks about using reflective writing, going through your journals and writing down what you learned from that particular time. And I would recommend, actually, even though this is it says harvesting your journals, and I kind of picked it because of the harvest theme, I would recommend that you use this like every 3 months or so. Just if you are an avid journal keeper, I would recommend this every 3 months or so, just to kind of go through your journals and really kind of pick out the nuggets, see where you're continually repeating things, is so that you can really get more clear on the lesson. Because let's face it, we all get kind of distracted by everything. So in her reflective writing practice, she suggests to go through and use these prompts. I learned, I relearned, I discovered, I regret, I appreciate, right now I feel, and I will. And so she goes through, and let me actually go to page 41, because that one tells you specifically to go to page 41. So review what you have written, highlight any nuggets that you suggest, and then complete these sentences. It says that a reflective, and if your hand starts to slow down when you're writing these sentences, go back through and say, I remember. You can use reflective writing anytime you have finished reading a segment or an entire journal. So it recommends that you go through, read your journals, highlight, and then to kind of close the energy of that, to go through those reflective prompts. Again, another super book so that you can get more of the goodie, the juice out of everything that you are writing in your journals. So the next book, not necessarily a harvest book or an autumn book, but this little gem. I found this, Prayers to the Goddess, a moon cycle devotion. So if you've ever wondered how to get started on your practice, again, this is the book for you. This is through daily meditations and morning and evening prayers, follow the cycles of the moon. This book supports our journey within and our connection to the divine. The more we surrender to the process of inviting deeper awareness, the greater our ability to embrace ourselves in our totality. I love books that are set up like daily devotionals, because that means that I can just sit this by my bed. I can pick it up in the morning, open it to the page, and you see for this one, it has like just a little information about the moon phase, and then you turn the page and it has like a little prayer. And then for the morning, and then for the evening, it has another little prayer. And then that's it. So if you feel like, oh, I want to make time for practice, but I don't have a lot of time in the morning for a full-on practice in the way that I want to have it, this takes like maybe 5 minutes, long enough for you to take maybe 5 or 10 deep breaths. Perfect book for and it's tiny. I love tiny books, because even if I have to jump out of bed in the morning, or my schedule is kind of crazy, I don't feel like, I need to hurry up and get to my day. Or I can pack this up and take it with me if I have to commute, or if I am in the park, if I'm heading to the park. Perfect book. So speaking of tiny books, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about a couple of poetry books that I adore. Now, 2020 was kind of the year that I really found my legs for poetry. And these books, because of Ken, I am all about my goddess spirituality. This book, let's show you what I want to show you first. Whole and Holy by Molly Reamer, and you can get this, and obviously I'll put the link in the doodly-doo, but you can get this on her Etsy site. And this one, little self-promotion here, features an article from me in it. And this one, again, I love that it's little, because then it fits in my purse. And Molly is an amazing poet, self-taught poet. And she's published a couple of books. And so I like this book, Whole and Holy, a goddess devotional. I like her first book of goddess devotionals, a prayer book honoring the sacred. So these books are designed to give you kind of access to connecting with the divine feminine within yourself and without. And then this one, Sunlight on the Cedars, Poems from Wild Places and Everyday Spaces. This one is kind of broken up, kind of a little seasonally. Now, if you order it from her website, I think you can get it on Amazon, but if you order it through her website, she will sign it with a little prayer poem for you, which I love. This one is broken up seasonally. So she starts in the winter, and then she goes through to spring. I mean, winter, spring, summer, fall. Goes through to fall. So perfect little books. Again, little companions for your journey. Like, you can do a little bibliomancy. And as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and open to the fall, the autumn time. And let me pick a poem for us as we close this video. So I invite you to take a deep breath here with me. And this poem is called Many Lands, from Molly Reamer's book, Sunlight on the Cedars. I dreamed of crows and trees, black wings lifting in the sun, while I watched, laughing and feeling alive with magic in my veins. Then 3 new birds came, blue feathers and white necks, bodies thin blades against the grass, necks and legs long like herons. I could see the sunlight through the short and spiky feathers at their throats, and suddenly I smelled the sharp scent of decay in the air, while I wondered why they had come to feed in my forest of crow song in the waking world. A smooth brown deer and her twin yearlings lifted watchful heads, ears shriveling and white tails raised. As I passed them on the road, maple leaves still scarlet and gold, the frost curling the last roses to black and folding the mulberry leaves into wilted umbrellas. At home, I dipped my hand into my coat pocket to find it full of sand. I left the grains trail through my fingers into the flower bed, noticing I carry many lands in my creases and seams. Love, love, love that. So my friends, I hope this has inspired you to kind of look at your books and look on your bookshelf. And again, these were just books that I've had on my bookshelf that I love and go back to and kind of feel like it has a fall vibe. I would love to hear your fall vibe recommendations, whether they be spiritual or whether they just be fiction or whatever you enjoy this spooky season. I love, love, love book recommendations. Until next time, do take very good care of yourself, and I will see you again soon.